In 2009, a Norwegian guy named Christopher Cook was a grad student writing his thesis about encryption. Not exactly the most exciting topic, but he needed it to graduate. For his research, he needed a real-world example of digital currency. So he spent $27, about 150 Norwegian kroner, and bought 5,000 Bitcoin. At the time, Bitcoin was worth basically nothing. Most people thought it was a joke. He finished his thesis, graduated, and moved on with his life. Completely forgot he'd ever bought Bitcoin. 4 years later, in April 2013, he's sitting at home watching the news. There's a story about Bitcoin's price skyrocketing, and something clicks in his brain. Wait, I bought Bitcoin. He tears apart his apartment, looking for his old laptop, finds it, boots it up. The hard drive still works, but there's a problem. He can't remember his password. He spends days trying every combination he can think of. Old email passwords, his dog's name, random phrases from 2009, nothing works. Then, finally, on like the 10th try, something clicks. He's in. His $27 investment was now worth $886,000. He immediately sold about a fifth of it, enough to buy an apartment in Tøyen, one of Oslo's wealthier neighborhoods. He kept the rest. And if he still has those remaining coins today, they'd be worth over $200 million. Not bad for a homework assignment. It's 1994. The internet is brand new. Most people don't even know what a website is yet. AOL is sending out free trial CDs in the mail. It's chaos. A guy named Chris Clark is messing around online and discovers you can register domain names. Like, you can just own a word on the internet for about $20. He's scrolling through options, thinking of funny words to register, and he lands on one, pizza.com. He doesn't own a pizza restaurant. He doesn't have a business plan. He doesn't even particularly like pizza that much. He just thinks it's funny to own pizza on the internet. So he pays his $20, registers it, and basically forgets about it. Years pass. The internet explodes. E-commerce becomes massive. Every company is scrambling to get online. Domain names that were worthless in 1994 are suddenly worth thousands, then hundreds of thousands. Chris Clark is just holding pizza.com, not doing anything with it, just renewing it every year because why not? Then, in 2008, he gets a serious inquiry. Someone wants to buy it. They're offering $2.6 million. He sold pizza.com, a domain he registered as a joke for $20 for $2.5 million. Chris Clark walked away with life-changing money because 14 years earlier, he thought the word pizza was amusing. Sometimes the dumbest ideas are the best investments. In 2019, an elderly woman living near Compiègne, France, decided it was time to sell her house. She'd lived there for decades. It was time to downsize. An auctioneer came by to do an estate appraisal. See if there was anything valuable worth selling. Furniture, jewelry, the usual stuff. He's walking through the house, taking notes, when he gets to the kitchen, and he just stops. Hanging right above the stove, covered in decades of cooking grease and soot, is a small wooden panel painting. The woman says it's been there for over 50 years. She always thought it was ugly, but it was in the family, so she kept it. The auctioneer asks if he can take it down and examine it more closely. He brings it back to his office, brings in art historians. They take samples, run tests, compare it to known works, and then they confirm it. It's a painting by Cimabue, one of the most important Italian painters of the 13th century, the guy who taught Giotto. Only about 11 of his paintings are known to exist. This one is called Christ Mocked. It's 800 years old. The woman had been cooking pasta, boiling water directly underneath a priceless medieval masterpiece for half a century. It went to auction in October 2019, sold for 24 million euros. That's about 26.6 million US dollars. She spent 50 years thinking it was the ugliest thing in her house. Turns out, it was worth more than the entire neighborhood. 2014. A scrap metal dealer in the Midwestern United States, his identity was kept private, is at a flea market. He sees this ornate gold object. It's decorative, fancy, covered in jewels. He thinks it might be worth something for the gold alone. The seller wants $14,000 for it, which is way more than he usually pays for scrap. But he figures the gold and jewels are worth at least that much if he melts it down, so he buys it. He takes it home, plans to melt it down and sell the gold. But before he does, he decides to do a quick Google search, just to make sure he's not missing anything. He types in some of the markings he sees on it, and his screen fills with results. Fabergé Egg, Imperial Russia, missing since the Russian Revolution. He almost drops it. Fabergé eggs were made by the House of Fabergé for the Russian royal family in the late 1800s and early 1900s. They're some of the most valuable objects in the world. Only about 50 were ever made for the imperial family. After the Russian Revolution in 1917, many were lost, stolen, sold off, or destroyed. This was one of the missing ones. He contacted Fabergé experts. They authenticated it. It's real. Estimated value was $33 million. He came within hours of destroying a $33 million piece of Russian imperial history. He sold it privately. The buyer was never disclosed, but it's believed to be in a private collection or museum now. The scrap metal dealer walked away with tens of millions of dollars because he Googled something before melting it. Always Google first. 2012. A family in Defiance, Ohio is going through their late grandfather's house. He'd passed away and they were cleaning out decades of accumulated stuff. Old furniture, photo albums, boxes of random junk. Then, someone opens a dusty box in the attic. Inside are about 700 baseball cards. They're old, like really old, early 1900s. But they're in surprisingly good condition, protected by the box and the dry attic air. Most of the family doesn't know anything about baseball cards. They figure maybe they're worth a few bucks each. Enough to pay for the estate sale, maybe. Then they bring in an appraiser. He starts going through them. His hands are shaking. He's trying to stay calm, but they can tell something's up. These aren't just old cards. These are from the T206 series, one of the most valuable sets in existence. Cards from 1909 to 1911, and they're in near mint condition. Then he gets to one card near the bottom of the pile. Honus Wagner, 1909 T206, one of the rarest baseball cards ever printed. Only about 60 are known to exist. This one was in almost perfect condition. The entire collection was worth millions. Individual cards sold for hundreds of thousands each. The Wagner card alone was valued in the high six figures, potentially over $1 million depending on the buyer. Their grandfather had bought them as a kid, probably paid a nickel each, stuck them in a box in the attic, and forgot about them for a century. Sometimes the best financial decision you can make is doing absolutely nothing, forgetting you even did it, and hoping you remember 20 years later. Not financial advice. But also, maybe it is.